it's the story that everyone's talking about, although you do wonder in the end how long it's going to go on for. Harry and Meghan and those unnamed racists. Buckingham Palace is considering whether actually it should take legal action now after two members of the royal family were named in the Dutch version of Omid Scobie's book Endgame, allegedly questioning Prince Archie's skin colour.
Well, who better to talk to than our Showbiz reporter, Stephanie Takyi.
Good morning, Stephen and Anne.
I do think, I mean, this is an interesting row in a whole lot of ways because it's how the names got in the book in the first place and whether these two royals should have been named in the UK at all.
Yeah. When you think about these allegations, they're very damaging, especially when it comes to race. It's a sensitive topic for the royals. We already had the Lady Suzanne Hussey issue earlier this year, and I think the royals have fought tooth and nail to claim that they are not racist. And now that this book has been published and on British TV, two senior royal members have been named, Buckingham Palace is in utter dismay about this because it's not fair. These people haven't had a right to reply. As far when these allegations came out 2 years ago, Buckingham Palace denied it. They said that recollections may vary on what was said. And now that you've had this out, even Harry and Meghan, surprisingly, they've kept quiet on this. But even at the time, they said they are not racist. They didn't use the word racism or anything. They said, Harry said there could be some form of unconscious bias towards it. So now the media are having a field day by actually putting that word racist with royals, who we're not going to name. It's quite damaging and it's a very sensitive topic.
It's interesting with Harry and Meghan as well. They need to distance themselves from this book. They need to say, we never briefed those names. They need to distance themselves, and they're not doing that either. So what are we meant to conclude?
Well, Meghan's camp, because obviously in the book, the way that these two royals were named is that apparently it was a letter that the Duchess had written to King Charles. And as, Meghan is saying she did not actually send that letter for it to be published in Endgame. So she's trying to distance herself like that. She says the reason why they haven't named these royals because they know it will be quite damaging. But I have to give kudos to the Princess of Wales and the Prince of Wales because it was business as usual for them last night at the Royal Variety performance.
In fact, they turned out looking, both of them, amazing. Smiling. She looked fabulous. But that's what the royals do. They go on business as usual and they keep what they think is a dignified silence.
They don't complain, they don't exclaim. But I do feel like this is an issue because it's to do with race. It's a very sensitive topic. And I think for Buckingham Palace now, they're going to have to think about how do we handle this. And it is about a legal matter now. Because when you think about when we're reporting on things, we do have issues of libel. So the fact that this was named on British TV, what was the purpose for it? You have to think...
Publicity stunt.
And what allegations have been stood up. It's just such a very grey area.
If a book said it, even in the Dutch version, you know, about you, me, Stephen, we would sue. We'd have to sue because it is absolutely the most terrible thing to be accused of, actually.
You can't brush it underneath the carpet, and Omid Scobie is standing by his stance that he did not put those names in that book. He refuses to apologise. He says it's been an open secret on Fleet Street. He says...
Who's put them in, then?
This is it's your book. It's your book. And he, you know, he's trying to shift the blame. He's saying it's been an open secret on Fleet Street. Fair enough, it is. Most journalists probably do know whatever this matter is and the two people in question. But the fact, it's still your book.
It's your book. Who put it in there?
And you can't distance yourself from it.
And he says he didn't put it in, even an early draft. He never put those names in.
Well, no.
So the only conclusion is that either the publishers did. And how would they? I mean, it's unbelievable.
And the Dutch translators, they've come out and they've defended themselves and they said those two names were in that book. So there's going to have to be a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I think for now, for the royal households, they are thinking, how do we move on from this? Because, as I said, you cannot ignore it now. It's a growing race row. People are not going to let it be. It's a sensitive topic. So it's going to have to be addressed one way or another.